Check 1, 2, 2, 2. Nice. Closer? Yeah? Is that too close? It's really cold outside. Or at least I'm really cold when I'm outside because I'm not used to this weather yet. I wanted to try to make this as direct as possible. We're at 99. This is 99 video, so which means the next video is the 100th video. So I figured that it was just fitting to end it with a true vlog. I consider Shade Life Cafe a true vlog, which is just sitting in front of a recording source and saying what's going on in life and what's happening and just giving a true video log. I want to talk honestly about where and what life has been in this past year. We moved, it's not been a full year yet, but we moved in the end of February from Florida to Georgia. And then we shifted our everything, essentially moving up here. Let me start over. In the beginning of February, we started the transition of moving. January was this kind of big feeling of, man, I'm gonna start new and I'm gonna build something. And I guess little did I know or realize that new really meant something not in Florida. And I knew that in this starting over, that staying in Florida was not the becoming new. And I just had this moment where I realized it's time. It's time to move on to the next season of your life. And as that happened, it was rough. Taking everything that you know from the last 15 years of your life. I've already moved from New York to Florida, so I already have that experience, being somewhere. But then there's also like the adoption thing. So there's always this kind of like moving on to something quicker than the normal. Wow, this is a great background setting to have. Let's just put that down and put headphones there so that looks somewhat more presentable. Wow, that's really bad. So we moved to the end of February, and look, moving has been really difficult. Essentially, it's going somewhere where you just don't have resources. In Florida, at least with my journey as a dancer, I had a community around me, and that helped me grow into the artist that I am today, is being around that community, the Florida underground music and dance community. That is essentially where I feel everything that I've learned and understand how to create and be an artist is from my experience in that community. And now I'm in this season living here in Georgia where I don't have a community, I don't have resources. It's just my family and me. And while there's a lot of great things that are happening because of just being around family, I haven't lived with family in, forever. So we decided that we were going to sell everything that we could, including the house, and take that and move in with my parents and just figure it out, because the world was changing so fast too. I built a career in photography, and then in one moment the algorithm switches and now it doesn't prioritize photography, and I know a lot of photographers have felt that and have had to adjust, and some have thrived through it, and some have also questioned their existence of what am I going to do. And it's a very daunting thing to go through, But it's not just about photography. It's also like what's going on with video production, what's going on with cinema, what's going on with acting. And when you live in a place like Florida, you have to navigate through essentially the entertainment industry and the advertising and marketing industry, where there really isn't a strong community within it. I shouldn't say strong community, but this is my experience. In Florida, for some reason, I became a person that created community because I always felt like Florida lacked a sense of community, like really connecting and working together and each one teach one. And I do see pockets of that creative genius still existing today, and people that are carrying on that work of a community creating itself. And it's really beautiful to see that it's still happening, and I'm also glad to know some of those people. But I know that for me to take this next step, this next journey is to be in a community that supports community. Yeah. I've realized that my work is a lot more about creating space for the creative process through community, which is some really great things happen in like these moments, these awestruck, God unknown moments. And it's unexpected, and it can change culture, and it can change a person's life when you experience it through performance art or whatever. And those moments, those ideas come out of community. Sometimes it comes out of like the individual, but that individual has come out of a communal process, and it's become my mission. And I guess you could say it's this calling, it's answering this calling of something that I truly love, because it affects me a certain way, being a child of adoption. It's this work that's dedicated to creating space for community. And in doing so, you create space for craft, which is people to get involved and learn a craft communally. And I find that that's why we seek out education. I think that's why we are so excited to go to college, to go to school for something, is to be around other people learning something that you're interested in, and being around a community of thinkers. I love the process of creating community for something, anything to happen. And I know, I know that that's what I want my work to have an effect. I want to have that type of effect in this world on culture. And I think in a brand new, profound way, and just kind of where my life ended, and where my life landed. So it's now moving into this next and new stage. Okay, let me take a break. Okay. Finishing the 100 videos was a struggle because I was juggling so much personal weight of trying to hold it all together, and then also as it kind of falls apart, just what you go through trying to hold it together. But I did promise that no matter what, I would still document the experience, and I did. I documented essentially everything, well, not everything, but as much as I could within that time frame, and then some. So I wanted to leave the vlog off, at least that part, of the video so that Bali has, reference of just how life was before she was here, when she got here, but then also just some other things that happened, and also where we landed essentially. And I'm gonna finish it. So this is video 99, and the next one will be the 100th video. So I'm gonna take my time to work on that one, because I love the video that we created for my son, and I want to put the same intention and give it the same attention that I did with that video. So it's not something that's going to be rushed, but it's not going to be something that lags either, because I do want to move to this next stage of creativity. So this next stage is, I want to be more honest, and I want to create something maybe that just hasn't been done. I want the vlog to become the BTS of the work that we're going to do. I'm going to build a media company, Shade Life, and that media company that already exists right now, which is the creative department, which is services for brands and businesses in photography, videography, cinematography, and post-production and content creation. But there's so many other parts to Shade Life that I'm building simultaneously, and I want to share that process, that behind the scenes process. I also want to share the other side of my work, which is performance. So I look at my life in 3 different places. It's in front of the camera, which is performance. It's beside the camera, which is directing what's happening to the camera. And there's behind the camera, which is being the eye and the lens. So that's more of my photographer, cinematographer, and videographer perspective. And I have a relationship with all 3 sides of the camera, and that's essentially what Shade Life is. It's a production around my relationship with the camera and building that as its own brand. So I want to go through my whole process of what that is and what I'm building. But I also want to share the other part of it, which is me in front of the camera, and share that journey and what is that behind the scenes camera. What is that behind the scenes journey like? Because it's a terrifying journey, and I'm so alive pursuing it. And I don't think I'll ever consider myself the best at anything, but I do try as hard as I can in everything that I do. But that also, because I do so many things, I'll never really be so great in one thing, and I've accepted that, and that's essentially what Shade is in my life, that artistry, that creative process or an approach to it, which is pulling from various perspectives and never just being one, because innately that's who I am as an individual too. I'm not Asian enough, I'm not American enough, I'm the blurred line, and that's what that side of the camera is for me. It's a blurred line. So in one sense, in pursuing a performance career, there's also this other aspect that is in relationship to Shade Life, is that I want to create what's called blurred line characters. They already exist today. I just don't think that people claim it to be this, and this is how I describe it. A lot of people on social media, and they put on a brand, what they don't realize is that they're acting, they're becoming an idea. But the moment you stop recording, you're not that person. So therefore, you're putting on an act. And sometimes those acts are blurred, right? So Shade is me, a creative movement artist, and stumbling my way through that. But that is also a person that you can physically meet and shake their hand. And it would be me. But I also know that when I take the fit off and I'm going to do projects or hanging out with my kids, I'm not this person. So I also know that in that moment of performance, I'm also an actor. I'm putting on an act, and that's how I view it. So I want to be an artist that essentially creates many blurred line characters. So you'll be seeing a lot of various social media accounts that will have a very blurred line. And I'm excited for this. I don't know exactly how this works, but I do know that it's just got to get here and here, just have to connect. And once they do, it makes sense. Okay, next topic. Moving in with my family. For a while, I thought it was that, I needed to feel accepted by my family. And what I realized is that my family, it's not whether they do or they don't accept me. They're my family, and they embrace all of who I am. And all of who I am may not be things that they fully understand, but that doesn't mean they don't love me. And I've had to work through that in my life in this past year. And essentially where I landed is that I need to accept myself, not look for the acceptance from the people that I believe love me. And I need to be okay with me being who I choose to be, regardless of even the people that I love, how they feel about me. And that's a weird internal conversation, but it's also something that was very necessary, and I'm finally at this place where I can take a deep breath and know I'm okay. I accept who I am and what I've been through, and that's a good place to be at. Let me make a new. Okay. I really hope that in this next stage of the journey that I just learn to accept that this is who I am and this is what I have at my fingertips, and it's not about comparing yourself to people that their work that you admire because they have so much experience to get to the place where they can create anything that could be admired. So I have to get to this place too where I'm not comparing my day one to somebody's masterpiece. And I think that's something that we're all guilty of, is, if mine doesn't stick the way that this person's stuff does, then you deem it garbage. And that's just a really toxic mind frame to have, and to have it's a bad relationship to have with yourself, as not just as an artist, but as a human being. And working through that, I've decided that I just want to be a new person, and I don't know what it looks like, and I'm okay with not knowing. I'm just looking forward to that step-by-step process of becoming, and I hope that becoming is just more honest with every project that I can take on. This YouTube started as a place that I can keep my sermons so they can be available for people to hear. And it turned into a vlog that turned into many other things. And essentially what I hope from this video and anything before it that you get from it is that your life is your creative process. I'm going to step into this new season of life and really try to make something that has been stirring and now is at this centered place, and I really want to bring it to life. And I know it's going to be a lot of work, but I also know that just to get to this place has been many years of just wandering and stumbling around and knowing that I don't know, and I'm just going to go and figure it out. So with that, I'm going to step into this new season of my life, but it's also a grieving step of saying goodbye to all the years before, because I don't know if I'm going to have interactions or connection with anyone or anything that has happened before. I just know that I have to be here and right now, and build from there. And I'm really grateful for the experiences that I've had in the past. Do the math, I've lived there since 2005. I moved there with Hurricane Wilma. That was my first hurricane in South Florida, and I moved from Hurricane Wilma and left February 2024 with my wife and my 2 kids. That's a pretty crazy ride, and I hope that in this next season I get to tell you everything that happened back then too, and not just what's going on right now. So it's going to be a mixture, and it's going to be a big blurred line, and I just hope that I can get myself to a place where I can create something that makes sense to tell the story of my life.